Hi, everybody. Nathan here. Welcome back to the Working Actors Journey Rehearsal Room. We are continuing our exploration of Hamlet. We've started Act Two, Scene One, and a little bit of Scene Two. So we are just going to continue the exploration. If you didn't check out last week, we started the act and started to work through the scene there. And we will just continue, diving into these characters, many of which we have been introduced to in Act One, and now these relationships and dynamics are getting even more complex. As was said, Act One kind of sets things up, and now we're seeing a lot of that stuff, just go deeper and deeper. So very excited for all of you watching. Thank you all of you for being here. If you would like, please subscribe. Click notifications, click like, share if you are so inclined. And we hope you're really enjoying this Hamlet project. So with that, I will turn it over to Annie and have a great rehearsal. I'll see you at the other end.
Thank you, Nathan.
Thanks. Okay.
Annie and I felt that we needed to spend a little time putting Shakespeare's Act One to rest for a little bit, and to say a few words before we put it to rest. In thinking about what we read the other day, um, it seemed to me that we made a huge mistake in not reading it right away. When we concluded our investigation of Shakespeare's Act One, we should have read it, probably called a special session to read the full act right when the iron was hot. But to let 2 weeks go by before we picked it up again may have been a little too long a time, too long a lag. For my own personal thing, I was I was not happy with my own contribution to the reading. For one thing, there were twice where my memory failed me. Um, I forgot in the middle of Horatio's important speech in the first battlement scene where he's giving the guys important information. My mind just forgot. I couldn't find my way, and that caused the reading to, I don't know, go haywire a little bit. And I apologize for that. The other time was when I jumped in, Liz, when I shouldn't have, at the beginning of the second battlement scene, which tainted, what followed. It occurred to me, and I'm just saying this, hoping that you'll bear with an old actor and the failings of that old actor. But it occurred to me in thinking about it, how difficult it is to be an actor. It's not easy. It's just, and at least it hasn't been for me. I mean, there were times during the reading when my mouth wasn't working, my lips weren't working, I was salivating too much. Words came out garbled and slurred, and it was awful. And I've been working for most of my life in trying to find a way to deliver the English language in such a way that it's direct, it hits the ear directly, and is efficient and effective upon those listening. Um, the English language has spread to so many places in the world. There's so many dialects. I mean, in England itself, there are a multitude of dialects. And here in America, of course, there are dialects. But to find a way of speaking English in a way that isn't so regionally tied, so that we can, in doing a classical play, make it seem as though that's the language that play is spoken in. And that's, I don't know what kind of English that is. Uh, Someone told me that I speak an English that was used in 1930 and 1940 films, which may be, in which, a lot of British actors came over and had a huge impact on American speech. But to find a standard English American speech that is suitable for Shakespeare, well, is something, part of the struggle. I know for me, the delivery of Shakespeare's written word is only the top of the iceberg. What happens between the characters is the whole underneath of the story. And that's the most difficult part of all. getting to the reality of what's going on between these characters and in the story. And even after a lifetime of looking at it and working at it, you know that you're never going to get on top of it, and you're going to get knocked down quite a bit in even attempting the challenge. But that's fine, as long as you're making the effort to get on top of it, to find out what's going on. You know, Shakespeare uses the metaphor of that we hold a mirror up to nature. Well, it's not just getting the audience to walk away from the theater remembering wonderful things that were said, but it's they're actually witnessing how these characters interact with each other. That's the thing about a mirror. It shows us how we human beings behave with one another. And that's what's important, I think, in watching a Shakespearean play, because his insights about the human condition and our human behavior is that nuanced and that deep and that truthful. In all the years that I've spent with him, I continually marvel at his insight about what kind of animals we are and how we treat one another. Um, I'm also quite taken by his enormous compassion uh, for human beings, his fellow human beings. At any rate, I asked Annie that I be given this initial time to be the first to talk about reflections based on that reading of the first act. And Annie, I turn it over to you now.
Great. And does anybody have anything that they,
Thoughts that you may have
yeah,
about
about it? I think,
what you'd like to-
I'm curious to see what you guys think. Yeah. Jim?
That last reading that we did when Randy did the ghost, I was totally fascinated by it. And I find that I get more out of watching Randy do the thing after I do it than it just happens every time. I'm sorry you didn't have a good go of it yourself, but I was very taken by it. Let me tell you.
Well, you know, to do that particular character, you're really walking a tightrope, because how much of the supernatural you want to incorporate into the rendering and how much father-son intimacy is involved in it. So it's always like a balance. And I'm never sure whether I hit the balance right, in conveying that particular entity. So it's a work in progress, Jim. In fact, all my work now is a work in progress. I mean, you know, as well as most of you, that our work occurs in the moment, the passing moment. It's not set in stone. It can't be set in stone because it's like life itself. It passes. It's like it lives and dies simultaneously. If you're working. And so we're like, I mean, there's a story about Michelangelo sculpting a piece in ice or snow. And of course, it didn't last long. The sun melted it. But we actors don't even have ice and snow to match. It's in the moment that we have to do all the work, in telling the story that a great playwright has invented. And that's the challenge, I think. And that's the thing that you never quite. Somebody asked Morris how many times he felt that his performance flowed and the whole play flowed, and he said I could count it on one hand. So our success rate is, you can call it that, is difficult to tally up, because we do try to create something that will live and die like life itself. But I think that's the miraculous quality of what we try to do as actors in the theater,
I think you also have to add another element to that, and that's the audience.
Yeah.
I think you will find some people will come to the theater not knowing Hamlet at all. Some will come knowing Hamlet and having an expectation of who the ghost is, who Hamlet is. I remember, again, Morris is coming up a lot today, but I remember him saying, when you go to see Romeo and Juliet, what do you want to see? What's your expectation? Because if you as an actor can at least understand that from your perspective, you have something to shoot for in the performance of these characters. I think that, and I've mentioned this several times, and sometimes I don't know if it makes a lot of sense to everyone. But I think what my latest discovery has been, and I think I've been heading here for many years, is that Shakespeare leaves mystery in the play so the audience can make up their minds. We're about to head into that scene that we talked about last week with Ophelia, Hamlet coming to Ophelia's closet. How much time does the audience have? Because they don't have 4 weeks with one scene. When it happens, they're going to hear her description of it, and whatever happens, whatever they take away, and I think more than anything, what they're going to take away is, I can't wait to see Hamlet again. I can't to see what the next moment is going to be after that situation. They're not going to sit there and analyze it and say, oh, no, I think it was, as Ben said last week, performative. Or no, I think he's saying goodbye. Or they don't, hopefully, we're not allowing them time to think. We want them to be engaged, you know? And so I think we leave that out sometimes, that what can the audience, just how much time do they have? I think Terry and I were talking about the beginning of the first scene in Act Two. And no matter how many times you do it, no matter how many times you say 2 months have passed, once that Hamlet scene ends, we think the next
We move on.
immediate. It's only through the course. Now we have choices. I said to Randy, if you look in, I think it's the bad court. I've got them mixed up, but so forgive me. But in one of them, it talks about the court being dressed in gold, which makes sense for I'm too much in the sun. But these people are elaborately dressed. So it's not just tossing off mourning and having sober clothing to replace it. This is a celebration of this king and this marriage and all that it encounters. Um, so if that's the case, I doubt Polonius and Ophelia are going to be in the same splendid attire that they were in the first scene, in the second scene, that they would be at home. So there's a possibility in performance of saying, okay, you dress them down, you dress them in a way that looks more in keeping with their being at home, being a scene where it's not courtly. Then the dialogue takes place, and you hear that we're sending Laertes money, and there's no texting, there's no planes. It had to take time to get to France. So I think little by little the audience starts to put it together, and Ophelia she seals it for us by saying in the play within the play, "'Tis twice 2 months, my lord." She is the one who gives it a time frame, but that's not until later on, you know. So we can either try to bring into the scene some elements that may make the audience feel like, okay, some time has passed. We're still not in the same night or day that we were when we were in the court. But most audiences, I will tell you, if you don't do anything like that, they're going to believe, and even if you did that, they're going to believe it's the next morning. It's not, you're not going to change their minds because it feels that way. And then as the play unfolds, they may learn something different. Because Hamlet himself will start talking about the delay, why he's waited so long. All that will happen as we move through the scene. So I think that what I want to make sure that we're doing is telling the story for the audience.
Yeah, of course.
and not coming to conclusions for us. I'm the worst culprit. I have every little bit of trivia that I look up. And I mean, Rennie and I watched a movie last night, the Gunpowder Plot, and it was the entire story of Mary, Queen of Scots, and it was like 3.5 hours long. When then it went through James, and I went immediately. I went to books after it was done because I wanted to see what's the relationship between Mary Queen of Scots and Bothwell. What was Darnley like? And then you start to pick up this little stuff. Darnley was killed in the garden, Randy. Oh my God. But you're making these associations, which mean nothing. In the end, it's just your imagination. If it whets your imagination, great. But we have to figure out what story are we telling to an audience and how can we best tell that story. And that's what we're heading into now. There's been so much written about these scenes. Some of them are very, very famous, that we can get lost in the weeds of that scholarly investigation. Okay.
Annie, I just sorry to interrupt, and I know you'll need a little time, but I did see some late messages from Ben and Michelle that they can't make it today. I haven't heard from Sharon yet. Hopefully, she's still on her way, but I know you probably need to do a little recasting as the
Okay.
discussion continues.
Thanks, Nathan.
Great. So yeah, I'll just have to, and it's not, I mean, the casting was just to make sure everybody had an opportunity to jump in, because I do want to work some of the stuff today as well. So I think that that's when Randy and I were weighing out what do we want to accomplish with this. And I also said to him that everybody thinks it's such a luxury, and indeed it is a luxury to have 4 weeks on one scene. I'm telling you, we are just at the tip of the iceberg, because there's so much. You're dealing with a masterpiece. We have not performed this play. And again, it's a play. Don't get me wrong. When I ask you to have respect for it, it's a great play, and there has to be playfulness in it. So it's not this sort of, oh, here's the obligation. But I do want you to understand that it is a lesson in theatrical playwriting, the likes of which very few modern playwrights have learned. So it's a craft there. And so a lot of what we're exploring, for me, I go back to all of a sudden a line like "Cursed Spite" that I were born to set it right. I look at what Laertes is saying to Ophelia, and that's kind of what he's saying to her, that his life isn't his own, that he's going to have to make decisions that are not, left up to him. So all of this, to me, it's being the weaving that takes place of all of these circumstances. Stella Adler used to say that you must always justify what you are saying. You can't just toss lines off, because it's not about the words. We're drunk on words, she would say, but it's not about the words. You must justify it. Why does the character say that? And that lives in the guy you're working with. Your life on stage is dependent on your partner. I mean, this, and more of this will come up as we go through this play. But I think that, and I think I mentioned it last week with the Hamlet interrogation with Horatio. Take time to take it in. I get it. We're looking at the folio. I get it. We're looking at the scansion. That must never replace the acting. The only truth on stage is the truth that exists between two actors. There's no other truth. You can write a scholarly book about it, but that's not theater. That's literature. That's a book. On stage, I have to believe that something Terry does impacts me to respond. And we may be out in the ozone someplace, but as long as we together are allowing that connection, that's the truth. That's what truth on stage is. So you need, when you're being questioned on stage, and when we're heading into this now, when a character says, do you have me, Reynaldo? There needs that little moment there. What is he saying to me? What is he asking me? And then I respond. I think with Shakespeare often, it's just deliver the goods. Deliver the goods. This is a speech about this, and this is how I'll do it. Or Polonius is this, and therefore he would speak this way. But if you understand that every character is making it up as they go, what you'd be searching for is the spontaneity, the justification of why I say this next line. Every line gives birth to the next line. There is no Hamlet without who's there. So you want to go cut that all away, do what you want. That's your artistic privilege. But just know it's not Shakespeare's play because there's no Hamlet without who's there. That will give birth to the next line. Eventually it'll give birth to a ghost. Eventually the ghost will put a dilemma in front of Hamlet. It has to work that way. It's not hodgepodgey. This is a gene. This is a master. So that's what you want to look for in your work. What's happening? I want to give you one more example. You know that line, not a mouse stirring? And I've taught the folio for so many years, the big capital on mouse. And so what you get is not a mouse stirring, not a mouse stirring. What we don't get is how odd that is to Francisco. Why am I keeping a watch when nothing is happening? Not a mouse stirring. Have you had quiet guard? One influences. We talk about there's no subtext in Shakespeare. And I understand that. If you say it, you mean it. But what I find is there is life under the line. And that's sometimes what we leave out because we're stuck on that capital. We don't take time to say, what's the circumstances these characters are in? Why would he even offer that? It's not a questionnaire. Have you had quiet guard? And again, the circumstances come into play. These men are not just the ones who saw the ghost. Francisco, it's cold. I'm sick at heart. I hate it here. Why am I here? And Reynaldo says, oh my God, he must have seen the ghost because what other reason would you be sick at heart? No, he says, nothing. There's been nothing. And then later on, we find out they don't even know why the hell they're keeping the guard. And that tells us something about Claudius. So it all is interwoven. So that's what I'm hoping all of our work will lead to, a playfulness between actors. I remember Robert Brustein at one point Randy was in a production of Don Juan at Yale. And Robert Brustein, he said to everybody, I'm going to let you know the concept when it's all over. So there was a concept, but he wasn't going to let anybody in. And actors were miserable. I don't think I've ever seen a more miserable bunch of actors. I was in the audience. And so Randy at one point was feeling sorry for all of these actors having to struggle so much. And Bob went on to this whole explanation of, well, this is what this is, how this is. And Randy just stopped and he said, for God's sake, Bob, put it in a book. And that's what it should have been in. Because it has no place. If you're not letting the actors in on it, well, what does that mean? Who's doing the play? So at any rate, I'll stop there and we'll move on. But again, I just want to impress on you what I'm looking for more than anything, even though I come off as somebody who says, oh, look at this little bit, look at that little bit. Oh, gee, I studied this. Nick always makes fun of me because I read Saxo Grammaticus. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter unless it stimulates your imagination and makes you a better actor. Doesn't matter. Matters to me. I like it. I enjoy it. It fills my days. But what is useful to bringing it to life? That's our goal. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? I know I haven't said exactly how we're going to do it, but I'm hoping, as I've said in my email, that now we can do the scene and then work it a little bit. And I think with this Polonius and Reynaldo and Ophelia scene, that's what we have to do, work it, okay? So let me quickly look at my pass list, which is different. Terry, are you willing to do Polonius? And Liz, Ophelia?
Sure.
And Nick, Reynaldo.
Give him his money and these notes, Reynaldo.
I will, my lord.
You shall do marvels wisely. Good Reynaldo, before you visit him, you make inquiry of his behavior.
My lord, I did intend it.
Marry, well said, very well said. Look you, sir, inquire me first what danskers are in Paris, and how and who, what means and where they keep, what company at what expense, and finding by this encompassment and drift of questions that they do know my son, come you more nearer than your particular demands will touch it. Take, as you twere, some distant knowledge of him, and thus I know his father and his friends, and in part him. Do you mark this, Reynaldo?
Aye, very well, my lord.
And in part him, but you may say not well. But if be he, I mean, he's very wild, addicted, and so, and there put on him what forgeries you please. Marry, none so rank as may dishonor him. Take heed of that. But, sir, such wanton, wild, and usual slips as our companions noted and most known to youth and liberty.
As gaming, my lord.
Aye, or drinking, fencing, swearing, quarreling, drabbing, you may go so far.
My lord, that would dishonor him.
Oh, faith, no. As you may season it in the charge. You must not put another scandal on him that he is open to incontinency. That's not my meaning. But breathe his faults so quaintly that they may seem the taints of liberty, the flash and outbreak of a fiery mind, a savageness in unreclaimed blood of general assault.
But, my good lord.
Wherefore should you do this?
Aye, my lord. I would know that.
Marry, sir, here's my drift, and I believe it is a fetch of warrant. You laying these slight sullies on my son, as 'twere a thing a little soiled i' the working, mark you your party in converse. Make him you would sound, having ever seen, in the predominant crimes the youth you breathe of guilty. Be assured he closes with you in this consequence. Good sir, or so, or friend, or gentleman, according to the phrase in the edition of Man and Country.
Very good, my lord.
And then, sir, does he this? He does. What was I about to say? Oh, I was about to say something. Where did I leave?
At closes in the consequence. At friend or so and gentleman.
It closes in the consequent. I marry. He closes with you thus. I know the gentleman. I saw him yesterday or t'other day, or then and then with such, and as you say, there was he gaming, there o'ertook in's rouse, there falling out at tennis, or perchance I saw him enter a house of sale, victualless at a brothel, and so forth. See you now, your bait of falsehood takes this cape of truth, and thus do we of wisdom and of reach, with windlessness and with essays of bias, by indirections, find directions out. So by my former lecture and advice shall you, my son. You have me, have you not?
My lord, I have.
God by you. Fare you well.
Good, my lord.
Observe his inclination in yourself.
I shall, my lord.
and let him play his music.
Well, my lord.
Farewell. Oh, no, Ophelia, what's the matter?
Alas, my lord, I have been so affrighted.
With what in the name of heaven?
My lord, as I was sewing in my chamber, Lord Hamlet, with his doublet all unbraced, no hat upon his head, his stockings fouled, ungartered, and downjived to his ankle, pale as his shirt, his knees knocking each other, and with a look so piteous in purport, as if he had been loosed out of hell to speak of horrors, he comes before me.
Mad for thy love?
My lord, I do not know, but truly I do fear it.
Oh, what said he?
He took me by the wrist and held me hard. Then goes he to the length of all his arm, and with his other hand thus o'er his brow, he falls to such perusal of my face as he would draw it. Long stayed he so. At last, a little shaking of mine arm, and thrice his head thus waving up and down, he raised a sigh, so piteous and profound, that it did seem to shatter all his bulk and end his being. That done, he lets me go, and with his head over his shoulder turned, he seemed to find his way without his eyes, for out of doors he went without their help, and to the last bended their light on me.
Go with me. I will go seek the king. This is the very ecstasy of love, whose violent property fordoes itself, and leads the will to desperate undertakings as oft as any passion under heaven that does afflict our nature. I am sorry. What, have you given him any hard words of late?
No, my good lord, but as you did command, I did repel his letters and denied his access to me.
That hath made him mad. I am sorry that with better speed and judgment I had not quoted him. I fear he did but trifle and meant to wreck thee. But beshrew my jealousy, it seems it as proper to our age to cast beyond ourselves in our opinions, as it is common for the younger sort to lack discretion. Come, go we to the king. This must be known. We keep being kept close might move more grief to hide than hate to utter love.
Okay. Let me start with you. What did you find? What did you notice? Terry, let's start with Polonius.
Yeah, I'm afraid I got lost in a certain portion of it there and just felt lost. Um, but I love the fun he sort of has in the scene with Reynaldo in dreaming up how Reynaldo is going to do this spying on his son, and how he's going to sort of seduce the listener into revealing secrets. I think that's something that Polonius seems to enjoy, and to feel he's really good at. He knows how to do this. He's going to tell Reynaldo how to do it. So yeah,
What
that
does
was
he want? What is his goal, do you
with
think?
Reynaldo.
Yes, and with Laertes. I mean, that's the connection. Ronaldo's connection is with Laertes. So what are you hoping for?
Well, I think in his heart of heart, he's hoping that he gets a report that's good about his son and what his son is
And
doing.
what does he count as good?
Pardon? What does
What
he
does he
think is
count as
good? Well, anything that is the youthful discretions of youth, that's fine with him. He expects his son to do that, but the incontinency is something he does not wish to hear about. Um, Yeah, and I think he hopes that he hasn't fallen in with bad company, so that's what he doesn't want to hear about. But I think that he mostly just hopes to know what's going on, what is happening with Laertes, I think.
Okay. And Nick, talk about Reynaldo.
I think Reynaldo is just kind of trying to follow Polonius throughout all this. That he's like, I don't know, his little, like the little that he says, it's just about not jumping the gun with Polonius, but that he's trying to show Polonius that he's understanding, and he's also trying to follow him. And thank God, because he's following him enough to remind him of what he's saying at some point. But yeah, when he says about that that would dishonor him, I don't know, not that he doesn't trust Polonius, but he is saying like, but he's trying to be very clear.
Right, but why? Let me just, what is your function? What do you do in Polonius's household?
I'm a serving man.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what does a serving man want when he has been given this task of being responsible for the Lord's son?
To follow him, to follow direction, to
To
follow
serve well,
yeah,
that's
serve
right.
well.
So that's what I think you want to start to hook into Polonius. And then the reason that you even say to him, I'd like to know why, because you're afraid of not doing a good job if he's allowed to whore and you're not, I mean, and I think you're right. You want to get it right, but at the base of it, it is this need to serve him well. That's why I think right from the top, when he says you be good to check in on him, and you say I didn't intend it, you're right there, please Polonius with that. Then if you do, then Polonius has a cause to say very well said, very well said. Then you get that period in there, if you notice, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a place where you check in with the other character to see what the character is thinking, how they're responding. So you see something in him, Polonius, that makes you feel that you need to give more instruction. Terry, let me also throw this into it. I think one of the difficulties with Polonius is it almost feels as if he has this under his belt. He's memorized it. He's going to say this no matter if the sky falls. My suggestion, because it's all a lot of semicolon, and then when you have a colon, he leaps to his next thought, that what you have here is a man who's thinking of what's next. What else can I tell him? And who and where and what company they meet, and come you then. So it all starts to move forward because he's thinking of it on the spot. I would even go as far, by the way, to suggest that the first part of it is to yourself. Let me see. Find out what Dansker's who and where, and you know what I mean? Allow part of it to be your thinking, and then it goes back to him, as opposed to here's what you're to do, and I knew this before you were even going.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think
Yep.
that's put a life under it.
Yep.
I want to just throw this out. Nick knows this, but I just want to throw this out. Never write off any small role. Sir Alec Guinness played Reynaldo. Gerard Depardieu played Reynaldo. Don't tell me these actors just took it on because they wanted the work. And don't tell me that they just did it off the cuff. Sir Alec Guinness never did anything off the cuff, even Depardieu. So there's something in Reynaldo that has to have the life. He brings life, as much life to the scene as Polonius. Okay. I think Michele last week was talking about Marcellus, because people always think of let's get through this first part so we can bring Hamlet in. And then we find out what an important role Marcellus is. So, Nick, I need you to, even when you respond to let's just do it. Let's do the first few lines. And then Liz, we'll talk about Ophelia in a little bit, okay?
Yeah.
Give him his money and these notes, Reynaldo.
I will, my lord.
And what happens now? You've said yes. What's your next function?
To
go.
go. I gotta get out of there. Right.
But you're not going to let him go.
No.
Yeah, that's right. Because you have the money and you have the notes. Okay, that's all I need. I'm going.
You shall do marvelous wisely. Good Reynaldo, before you visit him, you make inquiry of his behavior.
My lord, I did intend it.
I didn't. Well, now what?
Go.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Mary,
that's
well
not good
said.
for you, Terry. Right.
Yeah, Mary, well said, very well said. Look you, sir.
Hold on, because you're doing it for yourself. Compliment him. He's a servant.
Yeah.
Well said. Very well said. Well, now he can, put his things. You can put that out there. Now we have two characters coming together.
Yeah.
I want to hear. He's complimented the servant. Go ahead.
Mary, well said, very well said. Look you, sir, inquire me first what danskers are in Paris, and how and who and what means and where they keep. Oh, what company?
Hold for a second. That period is a midline period, so I wouldn't take a lot of time. I think watch his reaction, because we're on Zoom. I know.
Oh, I got you. Well said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but she's ready now. He's ready now to move on.
Yeah.
Again, think it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look you, sir, inquire me first what danskers are in Paris.
Don't drop it. That's the first, and it's
Are in Paris, right?
Right.
And how and who, what means, and where they keep. And
don't drop it. This is what you need to do.
All right.
I know this.
And
You need to find
how?
this south. This is why he's going to forget.
Okay.
Because he has so many things to say. I said to Randy and Nick this afternoon, listen, I'm a talker, as you all know by now. I know what it's like to lose my train of thought. So that's Polonius,
Yeah.
No, he's not going to trust this guy to do anything without his informing him.
And I think he also enjoys instructing him and teaching him in these special skills. So let's see.
Yes, and the semicolon, let me point that out.
Yeah.
The semicolon should never drive the whole line down. It's the transition. So what it is to say, let's see, why are you smiling? You shouldn't be smiling. So the rest of the line carries the life, but it's my transition to, instead of saying, why are you smiling? You shouldn't be smiling. That would be colon. But if I say to you, why are you smiling? You shouldn't be smiling. I can do whatever I want with the rest, or need to do with the rest of the line. I think sometimes semicolons drive you guys to downshift completely.
Yeah.
This is another thing about the folio. If you have a cap, you hit the cap, but you got to get back to normal. If you have a long spelling, you can't draw everything out. Either you play the game completely or don't play the game, because that's the way it works. That's the way it works, is that you put a long spelling is pulled out, but the spellings, if the three words that follow are normal, you got to get back to that. It's I don't want to say it's tricky, but it is practice. It's you got to learn how to wear it like an old coat. That's all.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Terry. Good. We're making progress. Let's go.
You want to go back to look you, sir?
Yeah.
Look you, sir, inquire me first what danskers are in Paris, and how and who, what means, and where they keep what company, and where they keep, what company, at what expense, and finding by this encompassment and drift of question that they do know my son, come you more nearer than your particular demands will touch it.
Yes, and is there a colon before come?
There is.
Yes. So that's what you've given the
All
description.
right.
And now here's what you do. So you're right. Excite him with this next section or with that transition.
And by this, oh, sorry.
Just to say that what you're starting to do to my ear is to say all the details, and this is for everybody as well. Tell me what dancers are in Paris, and who, and where. Every one of those words has a life of its own. So it's not a laundry list of the same thing.
Right.
You need to feel that life of it. That question is important to you. Make sense?
Mhm.
Let's keep going. Sorry, I know I'm interrupting a lot.
Um, let's see. What company? At what expense? And finding by this encompassment and drift of question that they do know my son, come you more nearer than your particular demands will touch it. Take you as 'twere some distant knowledge of him, and thus I know his
I'm hearing
father.
what, Terry? What I'm
Yes.
hearing is some distant knowledge of him.
Okay.
Put the life in the word rather than the attitude behind it.
All right.
Okay?
Take you as 'twere some distant knowledge of him.
Good.
And thus I know his father and his friends and in part him. Do you mark this, Reynaldo?
Aye, very well, my lord.
And in
Hold
part,
it. Are you impressed with it? I don't know what you're doing. Are you impressed with it?
Um,
Very is the word.
yeah,
You see, because
yeah.
listen,
So the very well is
yeah.
about him and not about me.
Wait, say it again.
The very well is about him and not about me. You know what I mean? Like because
yeah.
he's asking, Polonius is asking, do I understand?
Yes. And
So,
it's about what you've just heard.
but right, okay.
Right? So it's not about either one of you as much as it is, yeah, I'm getting it very well.
Okay.
My
Okay.
only
Okay.
point is, here's the thing, guys. And again, I'm drunk on Stella Adler sometimes. She used to say, put the pink in pink.
Right.
And because language is dead in America, and now we all have emojis and initials to show what we feel, it's dying even worse. But we speak in such a way that we flatten words out. That's not Shakespeare. Suit the word to the action to the word. Words have life, not just definition. So if I say very, to me, if I looked it up, I would say that's extreme. He's not just saying, yes, I do.
Right.
Very well. He's engaged. And the more, again, good servant, good servant, good servant, the more engaged you are with him, the more he's going to connect with you. You're going to get money at the end of this, Reynaldo. You're going to be his favorite servant, you know? Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Very well. Let's go.
Do you mark this, Reynaldo?
Aye, very well, my lord.
And in part him, but you may say not well.
That's new.
Yeah, you may say not well. But if't be he, I mean, he's very wild, addicted.
Hold on. He's not
Yeah.
wild. He's very wild. Addicted so and so. Make
Okay.
him, yeah.
He's very wild, addicted so and so. And there put on him what forgeries you please.
Wow.
Marry, none so rank as may dishonor him. Take heed of that. But, sir, such wanton, wild, and usual slips as our companions noted, and most known to youth and liberty.
As gaming, my lord.
Aye, or drinking, fencing, swearing, quarreling, drabbing. You may go so far.
My lord, that would dishonor him.
Oh, faith, no. As you may season it in the charge. You must not put another scandal on him that he is open. You must not put another scandal on him that he is open to incontinency.
For the boss, Terry.
Yeah.
This is something that you must not, this is something he must not, everything so far is what he should do. Now it's not, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Make it.
All right. Faith, no, as you may season it in the charge. But you must not put another scandal on him, that he is open to incontinency. That's not my meaning. But breathe his faults so quaintly that they may seem the taints of liberty, the flash and outbreak of a fiery mind, as savages and unreclaimed blood of general assault.
But, my good lord.
Wherefore should you do this?
Aye, my lord, I would know that.
Yes,
Mary.
hold on a second. Just want to, my good lord.
Yeah.
Again, you don't want to be a bad servant, but you need help, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. And so he says, I understand. You need more. I have to admit, yeah, I would. You know, I mean,
Right.
you see where I'm going with this?
Mhm.
The relationship. Everybody should know their job in a place. If you're a prince, you're a prince. And it doesn't mean you stop being a prince just because you're in a nunnery scene. You're always the prince in this play. It's in the title, The Tragedy of Hamlet, Prince of Denmark. If you're a king, you're a king. Now, Shakespeare, if you look at, let's say, Midsummer Night's Dream or even Romeo and Juliet, sometimes Lady Capulet is a mother, sometimes she's a lady, and he will actually change that in the text itself. But it doesn't mean that she's no longer a mother. It's just she's behaving a particular way. This mother is behaving a particular way. If you are a servant and you're meant to serve, it's you start allow your imagination to go to a place that says, I don't know, is it good to stop him? Is it good to question that kind of thing? Okay, that's where I'm going with it. It's all connected and it's all imaginative and it's all circumstantial. And that's what the page can't give us.
Right.
That's what the actor has to bring to it. What I do know after my years with this is that Shakespeare, in his words, is giving you your action. So the reason I'm not just throwing this stuff out there, but if I say to you, you shouldn't do that, I know how that lives in the world. I've been around children and they've done something this you shouldn't. I don't say, you shouldn't do that if I want them to pay attention to me. So there are actions are universal. Actions are universal. To wait is the same action under different circumstances. Whether you're a gladiator waiting to go into the arena, whether you're waiting for a bus, when waiting has an action, has parts to it that make it active. And so that's why you want to search for the action of it. My action is to teach him, and to teach, the action is to have something that lives in you live in someone else. That's what the action is. Obviously, Nathan's so generous with giving us 4 weeks. However, never mind. Let's move on. Okay, you get the point, right?
Yes.
So let's just finish this up. I'm not going to interrupt now. It's all up to you.
You can interrupt.
Oh, please.
Let's see, where were we here?
I would know that in that.
Yeah.
Where? Oh, there we go. Marry, sir, here's my drift, and I believe it is a fetch of warrant. You laying these slight sullies on my son, as 'twere a thing a little soiled i' the working. Mark you, your party in converse. Him you would sound, having ever seen in the
Yes. Well, here's a suggestion.
lines.
I'm sorry,
Yes.
because here is a suggestion.
Yeah.
What if you forget what you're going to say there? What if he's already starting to forget a little bit? I'm interpreting that period as a possibility. That's
Okay.
known, but it seems to me comes to a stop. Oh, in the predominant, and he moves on. Let's see what happens.
I think that's what threw me, that period there.
Yes, that's why I
Right.
interrupted. Right.
Thank you. Mark you your party in converse, him you would sound, having ever seen. in the predominant crimes, the youth you breathe of guilty, he assured he closes with you in this consequence. Good sir, or so, or friend, or gentleman, according to the phrase in the edition of Man and Country.
Very good, my lord.
And then, sir, does he this? He does. What was I about to say? I was about to say something.
Okay, hold on. I will stop because I want to throw something into the pot here that I've never seen done, and maybe somebody has done it. But you have no idea how they're going to react. You've been giving instructions to Reynaldo of what he has to do. And so when you get to, he closes with this and gentlemen and what was I about to say? I was about to say something because you don't know. That's the part you haven't figured out, how the French are going to react to you or how these other people. And then you can get back on track again. Make sense?
Yeah.
Let's try it.
All right, let's see. And then, sir, does he this? He does. What was I about to say? I was about to say something. Where did I leave?
At closes in the consequence. At friend or so and gentleman.
Oh, he closes in the consequence. Aye, Mary. He closes with you thus. I know the gentleman. I saw him yesterday or t'other day, or then and then with such and such, and as you say, there was he gaming, there o'ertook in's rouse, there falling out at tennis, or perchance I saw him enter a house of sale, victualless at a brothel,
And
or
don't
so.
throw it away.
Pardon?
See what I'm saying? A house of sale.
Ah.
A brothel of this you name a house of sale. Yep. Because you know you're dealing with a naive kid here who thinks drabbing is a problem, and you're talking about your son whoring.
Yeah. I'm worried about other stuff. I saw him enter such a house of sale, victualless at a brothel, or so forth. See you now. Your bait of falsehood takes this cape of truth.
Now hold on, this is your wisdom.
Yeah.
Give him your, that's what this is
All
all
right.
about right now.
See you now. Your bait of falsehood takes this cape of truth. And thus do we of wisdom and of reach with windlasses and with essays of bias, by indirections find directions out. So by my former lecture and advice shall you, my son. You have me, have you not?
My lord, I have.
Oh, goodbye you. Fare you well.
Good, my lord.
Observe his inclination in yourself.
I shall, my lord.
And let him play his music.
Ply.
Well,
Ply,
my
is
lord.
it ply? Okay, let him ply his music.
And
Well,
let's just
my
do
lord.
this farewell. Let's do this. Reynaldo, when he says to you, you have me not. Do you have him? What have you show him that, yeah, I absolutely
Okay.
right?
Okay.
You
Yeah.
have him. And then you're ready to go. And Terry, you still not like me. I'm always
I know, still saying goodbye, yeah. You have me, have you not?
My lord, I have.
Oh, goodbye you. Fare you well.
Good, my lord.
Observe his inclination in yourself.
I shall, my lord.
Don't
And
put
let
up
him...
with it, Nick. Good, my lord.
Good, my lord. Yeah, bye. I shall, my lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let him ply his music.
Well, my lord.
Good.
Farewell.
Good. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
That's the kind of work that we really do have to do. Otherwise, we fall into Polonius's this character. Reynaldo is a nobody, but a rapport is developed between them, and you start to look at what Polonius is saying. And I think for me, the same way I said this earlier, I shall obey, my lord, is the end line of that scene. It leaves us with a memory of that, what she said. That's why Ophelia can't just say, I shall obey, my lord. It's the last line. So what we're going to, she's going to carry that into this next scene. She is going to obey him. The same thing here. This advice culminates in, by deception, you will find out the truth. So that we start to see that that's a method that Polonius is very comfortable with. That you don't directly come to someone and ask a question. You figure it out, and then you wind your way to finding out what you ultimately will believe is the truth. But that's why it's such an important line at the end, because we will remember that when we see how he's going to act with everyone else. Right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Ophelia. I want to just add to something that you did. Your description of the clothing was, because of all those commas that are in there, there's no stops. And Liz, you did that with a sense of them all culminating in, he comes before me. That's the important part, that the description seems to be what terrifies her or what moves her. I would just bump it up a little bit. So that when you say you've been so affrighted that all of these what I like is you delivered it straightforward. So I don't want to make you slow it down, but I want you to allow the vision of it to be so different from anything you've ever expected to see Hamlet look like. All right?
Yeah, then the thing that I've just realized is I think her intention is that he really sees there's something wrong with Hamlet. It's nothing, she's not really making it about herself. She's making it about Hamlet. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Um,
Alas, my lord, I have been so affrighted.
With what, in the name of heaven?
My lord, as I was sewing in my chamber, Lord Hamlet, with his doublet all unbraced, no hat upon his head, his stockings fouled, ungartered, and down gyved to his ankles, pale as his shirt, his knees knocking each other, and with a look so piteous in purport, as if he had been loosed out of hell to speak of horrors. He comes before me.
Mad for thy love?
My lord, I do not know, but truly I do fear it.
What said he?
And that's to investigate. That's what said he. Because the only thing you know about Hamlet is the love relationship with her. You're not going to say mad because the queen married early.
Right.
The only relationship that they have is a love, what will ultimately be love, but what you've described before as some kind of, lewd behavior or tricking her into seduction. But that's the relationship. That's why you jump to that. I will also say the description that she gave, and by the way, it was great, Liz, but the description that she gives happens to be a description of a rejected lover. Does the audience know that? Not necessarily. Not everybody's read The Anatomy of Melancholy or Saxo Grammaticus. But that's not what's important about it. What's important about it is your response, Polonius, to what she's described and coming to that conclusion. In a minute, he's going to say, "Oh, I'm so sorry that I jumped to a conclusion." And yet, in these moments, he's going to jump to a conclusion left and right. All right. So, what's it now? Here's one other thing I want to bring up to all of you. Polonius counts more on hearing than he does on seeing. It's why he hides behind an Eros. It's why he hides in Gertrude's. He's going to listen to what's said. Horatio needs to see it with his own eyes. But this is something that there's a pattern about Polonius that he's very concerned about what's being said. What did you hear? He says it earlier to her. Do you believe his vows? So what's important about this, Terry, is what said he? And now, Liz, I think you're going to show us. He didn't say anything.
And I just have two thoughts there, that when he questions me with mad for thy love, I hadn't really thought of that. That's why I think that's why that short line is there.
Yep.
And the next line is short too. So I have to decide what said he. He didn't say anything. So I think I can take that time. Okay.
Yes, I think
All
you're
right.
absolutely right. Now, the other thing that what I'd like to also just add to what you're saying is don't try to remember what happened. Don't feel obligated to spew it back to him as something that was just so impressed in your memory that you know this. Actually allow each one of those images to allow yourself to remember them, because you are going to have different punctuation. You have more time in this punctuation.
Okay. So where should we go from?
Mad for thy love.
Okay.
Mad for thy love?
My lord, I do not know, but truly I do fear it.
What said he?
He took me by the wrist and held me hard. Then goes he to the length of all his arm, and with his other hand, thus o'er his brow, he falls to such perusal of my face as he would draw it.
Oh, let me stop you there.
Yes.
Slow it even more. Each one of those images, he took me, that's the first thing he did.
Yes.
And then he did this. And then
Yeah.
rather than, being too frightened by it, just recall it.
Yeah, got it. He took me by the wrist and held me hard. Then goes he to the length of all his arm, and with his other hand, thus o'er his brow, he falls to such perusal of my face as he would draw it. Long stayed he so, at last, a little shaking of mine arm, and thrice his head thus waving up and down, he raised a sigh so piteous and profound that it did seem to shatter all his bulk and end his being. That done, he lets me go, and with his head over his shoulder turned, he seemed to find his way without their help, and to the last bended their light on me.
Go with me. I will go seek the king. This is the very ecstasy of love, whose violent property fordoes itself and leads the will to desperate undertakings, as oft as any passion under heaven that does afflict our natures. I am sorry. What have you given? What? I am sorry. Have you given him any hard words of late?
No, my good lord, but as you did command, I did repel his letters and denied his access to me.
That hath made him mad.
Right.
I am sorry that with better speed and judgment I had not quoted him. I fear he did but trifle and meant to rack thee, but beshrew my jealousy. It seems it is as proper to our age to cast beyond ourselves and our opinions as it is common for the younger sort to lack discretion. Come, go we to be known. We being kept close might move more grief to hide than hate to utter love.
Yeah. Okay, Liz, I just want to go back to something you said, because I think you can even put more of that into this speech. It's not about you. It's an answer to his question of what said he. And he didn't say anything, but you need to describe for Polonius, not your fear of it, terror of it, whatever it is, but so Polonius gets a better picture of whether he's mad for your love.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. And then I think that that's why at the end he's going to think, oh my God. Julia, great actress Julia Marlowe. I don't know if you know her. You should. But at any rate, when she did this production of Hamlet, she did it on Polonius. So she grabbed his wrist and she stared him in the eye. So the Polonius was so struck by all of it that at the end of it, he thought, oh my God, I've seen it firsthand, and I thought if I were directing it, I'd love to try that once to just see, rather than Ophelia just giving the description, that she actually uses the father to carry out what Hamlet did. Because I think then you get long stayed I think there's a period before long. I'm not absolutely sure, but
There is, yes.
yeah, so that you get a perusal of my face as he would draw it, and she's staying, she's long stayed, so she's looking at Polonius right in the eyes. What's never spoken about in this scene is how she reacts to it. She never says he took me by the wrist and held me hard, and I shrieked, or I wanted to get away. She never talks about that. You're right, it's all about Hamlet. And that's how Polonius comes to the conclusion. Good work, guys. Yeah. All right, everybody come on back. We can take a little break and find out if anybody has noticed something that they'd like to share.
I'd like to share just how amusing the scene is for an audience. It's funny how Polonius kind of stumbles through, how we see the inner workings of the Danish court, and how everyone's spying on each other, how it's all about gaining as much information and data as you possibly can to give yourself power. And then Polonius, you expect him to be more powerful, and actually he just stumbles through, and it's a comedy scene, I think. Or at
Yes,
least the audience can find it funny.
yes, of course. And listen, let me just say that there's a lot in our government that would be hilarious if it didn't mean our lives were at stake. All you have to do is listen to some of these people speak. That's what Shakespeare's creating with Polonius. This is the Lord Chamberlain. This man is going to make decisions. And we have a king who is going to follow him because he believes he has helped put him into the throne. So yeah, I think that's important a quality then to that character. Not to play it jokey. I think that's where the slippery slope is, but that he himself, because of the way he operates, because of his not knowing himself, becomes funny to the audience and to us. Anyone else?
Yeah, Andy, from the far reaches of the empire. Um, Annie, one question about the timing. In scene 1-3, with Laertes, and Polonius says that there's need to haste because the wind sits on the shoulder, and so I don't see. I see Reynaldo coming in, the ship's in port ready to go, and the last things are papers and money. I think Polonius is essentially the Henry Kissinger, the Machiavellian. And essentially what we're dealing with is the train. One thing Shakespeare does is he takes the train, and we don't start in the station. The train has launched off the bridge that's been blown up. And when we see that his brother is king, his brother's leading confidant and diplomat, who we're now seeing has very few scruples. He's essentially sending Reynaldo to Paris, and they're not looking about what the Parisians are caring about. He's only caring about what the Danish are thinking about. And the reason would be because he's highly likely a co-conspirator on the murder, or in fact has hatched the plot to murder. And so what we're seeing in this Polonius scene, we're seeing spycraft. We're seeing spycraft, and I think what we know with Reynaldo, he's not right naive, but he's trying to get. Does he also, like the rest of the people who are on the ramparts, know there's something rotten in Denmark? Do they know this is a king is dead and this is like a Warren Commission? The first telltale to that is the fact of the viper, the snake. I looked it up. It's a black viper, and they are found in Scandinavia. However, what it said was that in history, only 7 people have died. Was the eighth person the king, or was this a cockamamie story that nobody's going to believe? This is a piece of, because that snake, so that narrative has been controlled, has been rolled out. I mean, all through this here, I think what we're seeing is essentially he's taking Reynaldo and making him an asset, and he's using his son as bait. He's not saying to Reynaldo, please don't get him drunk. Don't see that he doesn't get drunk. No whoring for my son. No, he's in these places, and Reynaldo's job is to kind of like, what was it? Use carp. Your bait of falsehood takes this carp of truth. I mean, this is classic spook. This is classic spycraft.
Now, let me stop you there. Let me stop you there, because that's you make a great audience. What you have to figure out is how the actor acts it. I agree with you. There are lots of things you observed. I do the same thing, Bob, where we find all this stuff out and then we start to come to conclusions. However, the audience must be given the freedom to come to their own, because they haven't done the research. So we've got to figure out how to take that information and turn it into something the actor can act. That's what I think becomes essential. And I think, by the way, it's great work. Simplify all of it. Simplify. I think what I've done with these actors today is to simplify. This is a command. This is a warning. This is, find the action of what you're saying, and then I think you'll be able to go to the next step of bringing it to life. Make sense?
He's so entitled that halfway in giving instructions, he says, what was I about to say? Can you help me? Where did I leave? He has, is he feeble-minded? Is he so unconcerned about the fact of?
You have to decide that as the audience.
He's a joker.
You can't decide it for us. You have to decide it as the audience. All we can do is tell the story. That's where you have to, that's my caution in a lot of this, because I've seen concepts put onto plays where the director wants you to see the play the way he or she sees it. And I'm telling you that Shakespeare wants you to see the play the way you see it. That's the art. That's the craft. How can we play? And it's all in the action, the circumstance, and the action. That's where it, and Randy's favorite, the imagination. And that's what we have. I'm not disagreeing with any of your observations. All I'm saying is that they're yours. Own them, love them, grapple them to your heart with hoops of steel, but they're not everyone's. What we have to do is accept that here's the action, and here each audience member will have a different response to it. I know it's uncomfortable. I know we like to control it. Actors like to control their performances, but that's the craft of Shakespeare. You don't control it. He's written it in such a way that he opens the door and holds the mirror up to all of us. And what you see in that mirror is going to be different than what Terry sees in that mirror. That's the craft of it. Okay? All right. We need to move on. And listen, Robert, if you want to discuss more of it later, I'm available. And so, huh? What? What do you say?
It's best in writing. I'll put in writing.
Okay, good. And I will read it. So, okay, all right. Next, anybody else with just in terms of the story we're telling? I think that that idea of Ophelia, let me just zero there for a minute. And I think what Liz had said is essential, that it's not about her. And most times when we see this scene enacted, You get, he held me by the wrist, he held me hard, and then he did this, and then and I was so and all she's saying is I was terrified, but we never hear what Hamlet did because it's coded with the sound of terror. But what we just see now is she's got to describe it. Why does she say, I do not know, but I do fear it? Not necessarily, I fear he's in love with me. There's nothing fearful of him being in love with her. That'd be quite wonderful. But she fears the situation. She fears what she has witnessed. And there's a long spelling on fear. But she starts it with, I do not know. If she said, I know, because here's what he did, that's not what she's saying. She needs help. She's come to her father for help. She didn't speak to Hamlet. She didn't say, why are you here? She didn't pursue it at all with him. So that's a real wonderful twist on this scene that Ophelia described it. And so all of a sudden, this Polonius coming to the conclusion makes total sense to me, rather than him just being a doddering old fool who would say that no matter who said anything to him. Got to be careful of that, guys. You must take your performance off of each other and by the circumstances. You can't, you can, I mean, who am I? But if you choose to do that, the audience is going to pull out. I mean, how many productions of Hamlet have you seen where you think, God damn it, kill him? Claudia is the evil. Just get rid of him. What are you hesitating? And so Olivier comes up with a film that says Hamlet's a man who can't make up his mind, because they've already made a conclusion about these characters. We box them. We're putting these characters in a box. But how wonderful would it be to have a production where the audience doesn't see a box? They see what ambition is really like. Because, guys, you're looking at it right down the throat right now. What is ambition? And what is standing for something? What is it? You're going to see it with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. You're going to see it even with Ophelia. What is it to obey a king rather than standing up for what you know is right? What is that? And until we learn that, and the theater has the power to teach it to us, till we learn that, we're going to have a king, ladies and gentlemen. So,
Annie, may I ask a question about the meter of those
sorry,
lines?
but
Mad
yes,
for thy love.
yes,
The
what?
meter. I was looking at the iambic pentameter of the lines. Mad for thy love, my lord, I do not know, but truly I do fear it. What said he? Now I understand that sometimes he leaves gaps in the iambs, which signify a break, a thought. But I
Yeah.
wanted to know if you had any thoughts for that, which in
Well, what's
particular.
your thought first? Let me hear that.
Well, I wasn't sure that the folio we have is the folio as written. To speak of horrors, he comes before me, mad for thy love. My lord, I do not know, but truly I do fear it. What said he? There's a longer pause there, clearly. So she's trying to work it out.
Yes, listen, I can't, I don't know that I can really, I'd have to sit down and spend more time with
Yeah.
it. What I'm working off of is the folio primarily, and this what's being said that instructs what the character does. So all I'm saying is that my lord, I do not know carries a meaning, which means I don't know. Do you see what I'm saying? Now, that's why I'm asking you if you, and I always refer to Liz as, because she is so wonderful with scansion. I'm not. I will be the first to tell you it's not my world. I know enough of it. The way I learned it was I had a student who came to me and said, oh, she was British too. And she said, Annie, they want me to scan this. And I thought, oh, geez, I better go find out. So then that's the kind of education I had in it. So when I sincerely mean, what have you discovered? Because I would like to learn from you if you discovered something that impacts the acting of it. Did you?
Um,
I did, because I decided
Good.
that she has to take the moment. because it never entered her head that he'd come mad for her love, for his love. You know, she's not that worldly. And so she's saying, what a question. So she's taken aback by the question and then answers it. No, but I do fear it. And then the next thing is that what did he say? Well, he said nothing, but let me tell you what he did.
Yeah.
And that's what's going on in that next moment, I think.
Does that help, Ben?
Oh no, I was interested. I love those. I love it when he writes the pauses.
Yeah.
When he writes them in, they're interesting time for an actor to
I
think.
think so too. And that's one of the things that when you look at King Lear and you look at Cordelia's response, you know, the whole nothing situation there, whereas you can have nothing, 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 pull them together, but you can also have nothing, nothing. Nothing will come of nothing. And there's a tension that's built right into those spaces that are quite wonderful. So,
And the lines do also complete as full. If you split Ophelia's line in half, it would, like, the beginning of Ophelia's line would complete Polonius's line there, and then the end would finish his next line. So I agree. I think the pause is written in. I think that's there, but it's another option, I guess.
Not a good option, the other one is.
we got to get this thing up on its feet. Otherwise, we're going to talk it, right? Yeah.
Please.
Anyone else? Hey, Ben, good to see you.
Yeah, thanks. Nice to be here.
Jim, did you discover anything or did you observe anything? Because you did Polonius last week, so I'm curious.
Oh, yeah. A lot. A lot. The colon, the marvelous colon, can also be a physical action. Is that correct?
Yes.
I love the idea of Claudia saying, give him his money, giving him a small bit of cash, and these notes, Reynaldo, and a bunch of notes about this big. And then Reynaldo is fizzling, trying to
How do
put
you
it
know that? Wait. How do you know that?
Shakespeare told me last night in a dream.
Ah, there you go. Yeah.
No, I was just always interpretation. I know.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's one little question I have, but I don't want to take up time. Let's go on because we'll have a session on our own later. Is that okay?
That's fine. That's fine. Okay, who's exhausted? Me. Let's do it again. All right, with new players. Let me look at my little book here, and let me look. You know, Randy, I think we have to move to you and Nick doing it.
Good.
And let's see. Liz, I'm sorry, but would you do Reynaldo?
I'd love to do Reynaldo. But I have to find him. Where is he?
Okay. Everybody there?
Who's playing Polonius?
Randy.
Randy.
Give him his money and these notes, Reynaldo.
I will, my lord.
You shall do marvelous wisely, good Reynaldo. Before you visit him, you make inquiry of his behavior.
My lord, I did intend it.
Marry, well said. Very well said. Look you, sir. Inquire me first what danskers are in Paris, and how and who, what means, and where they keep, what company, at what expense, and finding by this encompassment and drift of question that they do know my son. Come you the more nearer than your particular demands will touch it, take you as 'twere some distant knowledge of him, and thus I know his father, and his friends, and in part him. Do you mark this, Reynaldo?
Aye, very well, my lord.
And in part him, but you may say not well, and if it be he, I mean, he's very wild, addicted so-and-so, and there put on him what forgeries you please. Marry, none so rank as may dishonor him. Take heed of that. But, sir, such wanton, wild, unusual slips as our companions noted and most known to youth and liberty.
As gaming, my lord.
Aye, or drinking, fencing, swearing, quarreling, drabbing. Ah, you may go so far.
My lord, that would dishonor him.
Oh, faith, no. As you may season it in the charge, you must not put another scandal on him, that he is open to incontinency. That's not my meaning, but breathe his faults so quaintly that they may seem the taints of liberty, the flash and outbreak of a fiery mind, a savageness in unreclaimed blood of general assault.
But, my good lord.
Wherefore should you do this?
Aye, my lord, I would know that.
Ah, marry, sir, here's my drift, and I believe it is a fetch of warrant. You laying these slight sullies on my son, as 'twere a thing a little soiled in the working. Mark you your party in converse. Him you would sound, having ever seen. In the predominant crimes, the youth you breathe of guilty, be assured he closes with you in this consequence. Good sir, or so, friend, or gentleman, according to the phrase and the addition of man and country.
Very good, my lord.
And then, sir, does he this? He does, God, what was I about to say? I was about to say something. Where did I leave?
At closes in the consequence, at friend or so, and gentleman.
Closes in the consequence, I marry. He closes with you thus. Oh, I know the gentleman. I saw him yesterday, or t'other day, or then, with such and such. And as you say, there was he gaming. There o'ertook in his rouse. Ah, there falling out at tennis. Or perchance I saw him enter such a house of sale, vid illicit, a brothel, and so forth. See you now? Your bait of falsehood takes this carp of truth, and thus do we of wisdom and of reach, with windlasses and with assays of bias, by indirections find directions out. So by my former lecture and advice shall you, my son. You have me, have you not?
My lord, I have.
God buy ye. Fare you well.
Good, my lord.
Observe his inclination in yourself,
I shall, my lord.
and let him ply his music.
Well, my lord.
Farewell. How now?
Well, my lord.
How now, Ophelia? What's the matter?
Alas, my lord, I've been so affrighted.
With what in the name of heaven?
My lord, as I was sewing in my chamber, Lord Hamlet with his doublet all unbraced, no hat upon his head, his stockings fouled, unguarded, and down jived to his ankle, pale as his shirt, his knees knocking each other, and with a look so piteous in purport, as if he had been loosed out of hell to speak of horrors, he comes before me.
Mad for thy love?
My lord, I do not know, but truly I do fear it.
Well, what said he?
He took me by the wrist and held me hard. Then goes he to the length of all his arm, and with his other hand thus o'er his brow, he falls to such perusal of my face as he would draw it. long stayed he so. At last, a little shaking of mine arm, and thrice his head waving up and down, he raised a sigh so piteous and profound that it did seem to shatter all his bulk and end his being. That done, he lets me go, and with his head over his shoulders turned, he seemed to find his way without his eyes, for out of doors he went without their help, and to the last bended their light on me.
Go with me. I will go seek the king. This is the very ecstasy of love, whose violent property fordoes itself and leads the will to desperate undertakings, as oft as any passion under heaven that does afflict our natures. I am sorry. What, have you given him hard words of late?
No, my good lord, but as you did command, I did repel his letters, and denied his access to me.
Oh, God, that hath made him mad. I'm sorry that with better speed and judgment I had not quoted him. I fear he did but trifle and meant to rack thee. But beshrew my jealousy, it seems it is as proper to our age to cast beyond ourselves in our opinions, as it is common for the younger sort to lack discretion. Come, go we to the king. This must be known. Being kept close might move more grief to hide than hate to utter love.
Good. Now, I think it's a perfect example, and one of the things I enjoy the most of these sessions is hearing different actors do it.
Yeah.
Because you have, Ben, when you were saying, Ben Farrell, when you were saying how funny Polonius is, and I think he is, Randy turns in a Polonius that's less funny and more, what would we say, more
I don't know.
I'm not sure, but again, this is how we have to explore the play, is to find out, to listen to each other do these different roles and see what everybody brings to it. And I hope the realization is that every actor is going to be different, and that my job is to somehow guide the story, so that at least to say, here are the perimeters, rather than say, play it funny or play it sad or play it hysterical. My job is to say, what this is Mike Nichols, when he was once asked about the genius of his directing, he said, I always ask my actors, what is this moment of life really about? And that's the exploration. I mean, we've done a lot of text work over the last, has it been 150 weeks? But the point is that that's the text. And then the text provides the actor with the fuel for his or her imagination, to bring it to life. And each of you has a different imagination. That's why I often wonder sometimes with schools that we're teaching the same thing to everybody. Now, I think there should be a baseline, don't get me wrong. But I remember one of the things that Stanislavski was very disenchanted with the idea of having written a book, because he felt that the important thing is to work with each actor individually and not to have a system. And so I kind of understand that, and I think that we're learning that more and more as each actor brings something different to each role. Anything? I think we're at the Nathan moment pretty soon.
Can I mention something kind of off topic, but I just wanted to share with you, particularly you and Randy and anyone else from the old days. But I have a bunch of books that were Bud and Bob's in my office right here, and I always love it. Every time I open one, I find little trinkets shoved inside them, as in their 2 tickets to Hamlet. In 1986 at American Players Theater, July 4th, 1986. Hamlet at American Players Theater, so it must be Bud and Bob's tickets from
Wow.
when they saw
Wow.
you. I just picked up a different copy of Hamlet, and every time I do that, I find something from them, and I thought that was too good not to show you.
Wow, Ben.
For those of you who know, I'm sorry to those of you who don't know who I'm talking about on this on this Zoom, but
And
good to
Bud
see.
it was a designer at
Brilliant
theater and
designer.
the best of the best. Couldn't
Mhm.
ask for anything more. But everybody, you know, if I can just take a minute to, as Ben brought it up, is that everybody who was associated with that theater knew they were part of something very special. And there again, it was an experiment, just like this is an experiment. We were very young. I just turned 30. And we had never run a theater before. Randy was an actor. I was a literary director on the Hamlet at the Guthrie, and Chuck was the managing director at the Kennedy Center. But we knew that we had a dream, and we felt that we couldn't fulfill that dream through working through other theaters, and that the only choice we had, instead of bitching about it, was to start our own. And we were very, very fortunate to gather around us some incredibly, incredibly dedicated and creative people. What's so overwhelmingly pleasing to me, and I think to Randy too, is that so many of you have come back to these sessions, which makes me believe you have a memory of something wonderful that happened out there. And maybe you're trying to reignite a little bit of that flame again. But I couldn't be more pleased. I think Robert, when you had written that email to me, I had no idea that I talked about the text with, you know, any kind of insight or anything, because again, that was even before APT. I don't think I was in my 20s. So it's just nice to have all of you. And I think those of you who are new to it already know that we've already developed a relationship that I'm looking forward to continuing. So at any rate, thank you, Ben. Anybody, anything, anywhere? Randy, you want to say anything?
Well, just to the newcomers to all of this, as an actor, I've always wanted to find out, because I had been in so many productions where the play had been cut, or the play had been updated, or set in a time and place that didn't facilitate the telling of the story. And so as an actor, I wanted to find out how these plays worked uncut, and what the playwright may have had in mind. How did the playwright envision the play to be done? And what that playwright was trying to communicate to his audience. So as an actor, it's out of sheer curiosity that we did the APT project. Just curiosity. I have to know before I die, because my feeling was here I was spending time working very hard with the other actors in a production that was cut, or you had to depend on the director to give you the vision of what we were doing. And I said, I'm wasting my time. I'm spinning my wheels. My life is going by, and I'm learning nothing about the play and the playwright. So it was for that reason that we had to start just doing the plays uncut and placed in a period and a time and a place that was plausible for the play. Like when we did Julius Caesar, I mean, we had to wear togas. We had to find out what that was about, or, you know, but all of it. It was an attempt to understand better, to see more clearly, if that was at all possible. But that's it for you newcomers. So that's why this craziness is occurring.
And you know, there's no production that's going to come out of this, and we know that.
But who knows?
You know, it'd be wonderful if it did, but I think because that's where we're all at right now. I believe many of us are at I got to get it on my feet. I got to somehow be up with it.
Yeah,
I need actors in the room with me to play.
yeah,
You know, and who knows, maybe down the road we will be able to do even an act. I don't know. But I know the hunger must be there in your bellies right now to get up with it and act it. So
There's especially, if I may, especially trying to workshop the idea of Hamlet seeing Ophelia, and for those two actors to actually have that moment where he grabs her
yep,
by the wrist and to play with it multiple
absolutely.
times to see how tender it is, or to see how what does he see in her eyes?
That's
Yeah,
right.
yes.
That's right.
you'd learn so much just from
Yep,
doing that. In fact, the whole cast would to see it.
that's right. That's the nature of our work. We
Yeah,
have to do it with each other.
of course.
We're not scholars that can sit in our study and arrive at conclusions about these plays. These plays need to be worked in the body, in the mind, in the heart, in our very souls, and we do it with each other. There's no doing it alone. There's no going this journey by ourselves. It takes a group of us to do it. There's no other way. There's just no other way to have these playwrights sing their song again and audiences to hear them again. You know, whether you're talking Shakespeare or Sophocles or Chekhov or Ibsen or Moliere, it takes actors to do them. Actors who care profoundly about the play, the playwright, and the audience they're playing to. I can't see it happening any other way. No producer can buy his way into anything. It takes actors to do it. And I wish actors would for once grab the theater and make it theirs again. Actors have always been fundamental. Sophocles was an actor. They had to act. Shakespeare was an actor, you know? So for God's sake, actors grab hold of the theater and take it away from those who think they have power over it. God.
You see what happens when you're in that seat? All of a sudden,
Madness,
yeah,
sheer madness.
exactly. I'm glad to see you there for a while. Nathan, save us.
There's nothing I need to save any of you from. This is wonderful.
There you are.
And I so appreciate the discussion, you guys had at the top. Randy, I deeply admire and appreciate your honesty, whether or not we had a different experience. I appreciate you sharing your experience, and I think that led to some great conversation and discussion around. And actually, I remember last week after the three of us were talking about just how demanding this play is. Just here we are taking it piece by piece, and to really put the whole first act together, and then to keep. I mean, it's just so exhausting as an actor. And Randy touched on that, and I love the depth we were getting. With Terry and Liz, working, and Nick working those scenes, working those sections. It was great. And you're right, Annie. Like that's what we need to be doing is really like figuring it all out. And I can't, I just so love all the passion from so many people, but how, Annie, you keep coming back to this point of it's not for us to decide. It's for the audience to leave with those questions. And I think that's such a, I'll say for me, kind of refreshing way to think about theater. I don't know that that's really been presented in that way through my journey of, it's not for the production to make the final call or the decisions. I should be walking out going, well, yeah, but what did Polonius know? Or what did Reynaldo know? Or what did Hamlet know? Or what did,
Yeah.
what was going on between the scenes? And I think that's all so exciting. And so I'm just continuing to really enjoy the discussion and everybody's participation here. So and all of those chiming in with questions or comments about either the scansion or text or what's going on at this moment. We welcome that, and more is welcome. So thank you all very much for your participation and great work today. And yeah, for those watching, come on back. We're gonna keep doing it. We'll just keep doing it until we run out. And you're right. Who knows what might come after that? What dreams may come, right? We'll see. We'll see what happens. But yes. So if you're watching, please subscribe, get notifications, tell others. You can support the project. There are links below if you're inclined to do so. We do appreciate those who have been helping us keep the administrative lights on and keeping this running. But with that, I think we can kind of wrap it up for today. Randy,
By the
is there
way,
anything else? Yes, yes, go ahead.
one thing, Nathan, everybody, we're going to introduce Rosencrantz and Guildenstern next session, and they're welcome to Elsinore and talk a little bit about how they function in the play.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Can't wait. Well, good. I hope everybody has a great week, and we'll see you all back here in the rehearsal room next time. All right. Take care,
Thanks,
everybody.
everybody.
Thank you very much. Thank you.